Hello guys, my name is Dr. Huma Hassan and I like to highlight one very important point that today in the time where we are having AI generated answers, we are having AI generated content, we do have YouTubers, we do have even those who do not have any understanding of the subject or any topic, but still they are explaining and giving their opinions and explaining what is the subject like sociology or anthropology and so on. Today, I want to prove that with mere content, you will not be able to do anything good, whatever your optional is. So, why and how we need to have confidence on ourselves. Why? Because ultimately it is you who are going to write an answers. How? I would say with correct approach. Now, what can be the correct approach? See, in sociology, you need to know that you are dealing with a critical discipline. It is a discipline that has evolved in 19th century, explaining what should be required to understand our social world. Now, when you know that it is the youngest discipline and it is a queen of all other sciences, you must understand the gravity of this discipline. You have to see that yes, you are preparing for civil services and you need to study this for 5 to 6 months. It is definitely not giving you any credit. You have not have got professional, orientation, that deep dwelling into the subject. But again, you need to remember that you are preparing for civil services. You need to have in-depth understanding. So do not get confused with AI generated answers. Do not get confused with those who cannot even write 2 paragraphs on their own. They need chat GPT. They need AI tool just to convey their messages. Now, when you are being taught by such people, then your future is in danger. Now, how to understand this discipline? So, if you remember, I have always in all my videos, I have told you that sociology makes you critical. Now, one should know the meaning of critical. It is about not having biased approach, saying what is truth, understanding background before giving any theory. Now, with this approach, you will see it is defining that we are living in a society where we have different perspectives. Now, in sociology, we do have some major perspectives: conflict. We do have perspectives like functionalist. We do have interactionist. We do have Frankfurt School. We do have feminist school. We do have evolutionist school, symbolic interactionism, cognitive sociology, and so on. Yes, you need to know that sociology is a vast discipline. It is dealing with society, and society in itself need to be understood clearly. How do we have got society? So I would say society is a resultant of our ancestral survival instincts. When our ancestors understood that they need to be in associations, they need to live together in companionship, they have created laws. It is this laws that these people or our ancestors have created institutions. Now, this is, you are not going to get anywhere. The information which I have just told you. To understand that what sociology is dealing with our contemporary world, we need to know how and in what circumstances we have got society. So, what I have done, I have initiated a series in which I am going to explain sociology just like a talk. Just like, click of your fingers. So first of all, you should know this particular part, how we have got society. To understand that, you need to know the evolution of society. And when you are understanding evolution of society, you need to refer various disciplines. I would start with Edwin Hubble. Yes, most of you do not even, I think most of you not be knowing Edwin Hubble. So if you are preparing for civil services, you need to rethink, because you are an aspirant. Definitely you need to learn lot many things. But if you are not knowing Edwin Hubble, then you should definitely study it. Okay? Because the contribution of Hubble is enormous, right? It is, I would say, enormous, right? You would see that today whatsoever we know about our physical world, it is because of his major discoveries. So here I'm not going to talk about that, because I'm just introducing that why and how we should be different when we are dealing with sociology. So, so following Edwin Hubble, you should be knowing George Lemaitre. Now, after understanding this, you should be knowing land continental theory. Student need to know this from geography, how we do have one whole planet Pangeas, and then how we have got, distribution of land masses, right? I'm just simply telling you, to understand how we have got society, we need to borrow from astronomy, we need to borrow from geology, we need to borrow from geography, we need to see what theology says, what philosophy says, what definitely in the end sociology says. And if you are understanding in this in-depth manner, then only you are creating good content, unique content. How do we understand sociology? The common understanding, you can see it is available everywhere with respect to UPSC optional syllabus. But that is what we do not have to do. As you know, Derrida have argued on the theory of deconstruction. What it appears, it is not the fact. You need to read in between lines. This is a logical explanation which you need to understand, not from only classical thinker perspective such as Karl Marx, who is epitome of knowledge. Emile Durkheim, Max Weber. Now, there are some aspirants who are thinking that only these thinkers we need to learn. Definitely, these thinkers who are sociologists, right, who are not any layman person, they know the value of these three thinkers. You cannot understand sociology without understanding these three thinkers. You need to know all major theories are coming out of these three sociological perspectives. But then you need to quote lot many other thinkers when you are writing your answers. For example, when you're talking about politics and society, start with Gedona Mosca. When you're talking about Gedona Mosca, you also have to deal with Lenin. You also have to deal with lot many political thinkers, whether it is Montesquieu, whether it is social contract theory thinkers. You need to go past and present. Then you need to understand Pareto, Cyril Mills, Robert Michael, and there are lot many thinkers, Luis Althusser, Antonio Gramsci. When we know the thinkers, you do not have to just flex it. You need to speak only when you know their two references. Because when we are dealing with such topics, we need to know how and where we need to give their references. But all this can only come when you have true in-depth understanding of sociology. Okay, so we'll start this series, and let's see how many of you can understand that sociology is not only about few topics mentioned in UPSC, it is beyond that. We need to write an answer in the most critical and unique manner. And me, Dr. Huma Hassan, is going to teach you through the series which I have started today. With mere, I would say, few lectures, maybe in 10 to 15 lectures, you will yourself see that how sociology is not, is being taught there on YouTube. You need to have in-depth understanding. You need to have true understanding. So continue with me on this series, and just 5 to 6 minutes of lectures, we will understand sociology in the most unique, in-depth manner. Thank you.